As the platinum-clad raiders, led by the imposing Clifton, advanced with their gleaming platinum armor, the rebels took their strategic stance. Lucy Stearns, Neville Fallow, Jasper and Hallam Seathan stood ready, each embodying a unique aspect of the rebels' resistance. The linguistic maestro, Lucy Stearns, stepped forward with her synchronic swords, ready to engage in a dance of words that would expose the raiders' lack of understanding.
Ah, Clifton, the dance has just begun. Let's see if your raiders can stand against the language of enlightenment,
she declared, her words carrying the weight of linguistic prowess and defiance. Clifton, fueled by a desire for dominance, scoffed at the notion.
Enlightenment. I only seek power, not some fanciful dance. Raiders, crush them with your might.
He bellowed, his orders resonating with the brute force mentality that had characterized the raiders' approach. Hallam Seathan, the guardian of the standard form factor of the process artifact, interjected with a roguish grin.
Well, raiders. Let's dash chaos on your rigid dance. Get ready for a roguish surprise.
His words hinted at the maneuverability that would define his style in the coming clash. Neville Fallow, channeling the divine wisdom of the Amos, spoke with calm certainty.
In the dance of principles, the raiders stumble. Clifton, your understanding is as hollow as your ambitions.
His words carried the weight of a higher purpose, challenging Clifton's pursuit of power devoid of compassion. Lucy Stearns, weaving linguistic structures, added,
"The linguistic symphony reveals your lack of wisdom, Clifton. We rebels won't bow to folly."
Her words resonated with certainty of foresight, emphasizing the disharmony that Clifton's raiders had brought to the sacred balance. Jasper addressed Clifton with a mix of mockery and strategic intent.
Raiders, your armor gleams, but it's the shine of ignorance. Time to teach you the steps of true power.
Her words carried a subtle mockery, challenging the raiders' understanding of power as mere brute force. Clifton, undeterred, asserted,
Ignorance. I hold the power of plunder. Raiders, show them the consequences of opposing my dominion.
His response echoed the plunder-driven ambitions that had fueled the raiders' advance. Hallam Seathan, with a mischievous glint in his eyes, taunted the raiders.
Platinum might meets roguish finesse. Let's see if your raiders can follow the unpredictable steps of the dance.
His words hinted at the clash between the rigid platinum armor of the raiders and the dynamic finesse of his own maneuvers. Clifton, fueled by a desire to regain control, asserted,
Coordination. I need no lessons. Raiders, regroup and show them the force that defines dominion.
His orders echoed with a determination to overpower the rebels through sheer force. Hallam Seathan, with a mischievous glint in his eyes, added a final taunt.
Raiders, your rigid dance lacks finesse. Let me show you the art of unpredictability.
His words teased the raiders one last time, emphasizing the rebels' dynamic finesse. As the echoes of the clash reverberated through the rainforest, the rebel faction, guided by the transformative principles encoded within the Amos, stood united against the platinum-clad raiders. The rebels' coordinated efforts and strategic mastery seemed to dance in harmony with the rainforest, while the raiders, driven by Clifton's desire for dominance, found themselves stumbling in the complexity of the clash. The moonlit night bore witness to this epic confrontation, where philosophy met power in epic proportions. The rainforest of Mt. Veridaegis held its breath, caught in the tension between opposing forces. In the grand theater of life, the rebel faction, armed with the process artifact and guided by the transformative principles encoded within the Amos, stood as defenders of the delicate balance. The Raiders, clad in platinum armor and driven by a lust for dominance, faltered in the face of the rebels' united front. Clifton, once confident in the power derived from plundered resources, realized that brute force alone could not conquer the intricate dance of knowledge and nature. In a moment of realization, he bellowed orders to his raiders, attempting to regroup and reassess their strategy. The rebels, however, pressed forward with renewed determination. Lucy Stern's linguistic prowess created a symphony of deflection and counterattacks, disrupting the raiders' coordination. Neville Fallow's 3D threads held firm, creating a protective dome that granted cover to the rebels. Hallam Seathan's roguish maneuvers exploited the raiders' confusion, and Jasper's strategic coordination led the rebels in a synchronized advance. The platinum-clad raiders, now faced with the rebels' united front and the transformative power of the process artifact, faltered in their advance. Clifton, witnessing the resilience of the rebel faction, realized that brute force alone could not conquer the intricate dance of knowledge and nature. In a moment of realization, he bellowed orders to his raiders, attempting to regroup and reassess their strategy. The rebels, undeterred, pressed forward with a renewed sense of purpose. Lucy Stern's linguistic prowess continued to disrupt the raiders' attempts to coordinate. Neville Fallow's divine shield held firm, creating a protective barrier that enhanced the rebels' defense. Hallam Seathan's roguish finesse exploited the raiders' weaknesses, and as Jasper weaved through the clash, the rebels' combined efforts created a synchronized dance that mirrored the intricate tapestry of Veridaegis itself. Jasper addressed the raider ruler with a mixture of strategic insight and subtle mockery.
Clifton, your raiders are stumbling in this dance of power. Perhaps it's time to reconsider your rigid approach. Power is more than just brute force.
Jasper as she observed the unfolding dynamics. Clifton, fueled by a desire to regain control, retorted,
Raiders, show them the force that defines dominion. Crush them with the might of plundered power.
His orders echoed with a determination to overpower the rebels through sheer force, emphasizing the raider nature that had fueled the advance. Lucy Stearns, with a confident smile,
The linguistic clash reveals the flaws in your dominion, Clifton. Your plundered power is but a facade. True power lies in the harmony of knowledge and individuality.
Her words carried a sense of assurance, challenging Clifton's narrow definition of power. Neville Fallow, maintaining his connection to the divine,
The threads of the 3DGR hold strong, resisting the harmony you seek. Nature itself rejects your discordant ambitions.
His words emphasized the rebels' commitment to maintaining the delicate balance of the rainforest. Hallam Seathan, with a mischievous glint in his eyes, taunted the raiders once more.
Raiders, your rigid dance lacks finesse. Let me show you the art of unpredictability once again.
His words teased the raiders, emphasizing his dynamic finesse. As the linguistic clash continued, the rebels' coordinated efforts and strategic mastery seemed to gain momentum. The rainforest, responding to the rebels' harmonious dance, added an unpredictable element to the battlefield. The raiders, clad in rigid platinum armor, struggled to adapt to the dynamic and unpredictable movements of the rebel faction. Jasper, with a keen eye for strategic advantage, seized the opportunity.
Rebels, press forward. Let the raiders stumble in their rigid dance.
Her words guided the rebels in utilizing the terrain advantage provided by the rainforest. Clifton, witnessing the rebels advance, bellowed orders in a last attempt to regain control.
Raiders, don't falter. Show them the might of Dominion. Crush the rebels with overwhelming force.
His desperation echoed through the moonlit night, emphasizing the raiders' reliance on brute force. Lucy Stearns, with a determined focus, continued her linguistic dance.
The synchronic swords weave a tale of resistance. Raiders, your warmongering crumbles before the transformative power of knowledge.
Her words resonated with the rebels' commitment to resisting the disharmony brought by the raiders. Clifton, witnessing the rebels' advantage, bellowed desperate orders in a last attempt to regain control. The raiders, driven by brute force and silver ambitions, clashed with the rebels in a final confrontation. Lucy Stearns' linguistic dance, Neville Fallow's complex 3D structures, Hallam Seathan's roguish finesse, and Jasper's strategic coordination painted a vivid tableau of resistance against the raiders' disharmony. The moonlit night bore witness to this epic clash of philosophy and power, a dance that would determine the destiny of Biofexry Castle and the Rainforest of Mt. Veridian. The rebels, armed with the transformative power of the process artifact and guided by the principles encoded within the Amos, stood united against the raiders' disharmony. As the moonlit night faded into the dawn, the Hall of Rain was held by the rebels. Lucy Stearns looked out over the victorious rebels with a sense of fulfillment. The grand theater of life had witnessed a dance where philosophy triumphed over brute force, and the rainforest itself seemed to applaud the rebels' harmonious victory.